Hello, Alexia aqui. Então, antes de começar esse episódio, eu quero dar algumas atualizações sobre o inglês de Unicru. Em 2020, nós vamos ter 12 challenges diferentes, ou seja, é um novo produto completamente diferente para vocês. A cada mês, a gente vai ter um challenge diferente um do outro, claro. Então, por exemplo, nós teremos challenges sobre como melhorar o seu vocabulário, como fazer good first impressions, como ter o inglês melhor e mais natural possível durante conversas com nativos de inglês. Eu estou muito animada e quero muito que você participe. Então, se você gosta de nós, se você gosta do nosso trabalho, se você gosta aqui do Inglês no Micro Rádio e quer ficar de uma vez por todas sério com o seu inglês, começando agora em 2020, vá lá no nosso site inglesdonicru.com. Now, on with the show! Oi pessoal, bom dia, boa tarde, boa noite. Bem-vindos a mais um episódio aqui do Inglês no Micro Rádio. A gente está muito feliz de ter você de novo com a gente. E hoje eu vou falar sobre o Cambly. Claro, né? Óbvio, você que escuta a gente desde o princípio sabe que o Cambly é o nosso parceiro querido do coração. A gente não larga eles por nada nesse mundo e vice-versa, o que é maravilhoso. E engraçado que essa semana eu tava falando lá com o pessoal do Instagram sobre autoconfiança e sobre medo de julgamentos dos outros em relação a gente falar inglês com falantes nativos. E, gente, o que eu falo sempre é, se você não começar a falar e ultrapassar essa barreira, você não vai conseguir ter a sua autoconfiança para encarar qualquer julgamento dos outros, não é mesmo? Então, assim, vá lá no Cambly. Vai no cambly.com ou no aplicativo do Cambly, coloca o nosso código em minutos grátis, que é Inglês no Micro Podcast. Dessa forma, você vai poder falar com o professor. Eles estão lá 24 horas por dia, de qualquer lugar do mundo, então não vai ter problema de uso horário nem nada. E dessa forma, você vai começar a ultrapassar essa barreira e parar de travar. Lembrando que você tem que começar a fazer, porque nada nesse mundo é de mão beijada, não é mesmo? Então vá lá no cambly.com ou no aplicativo do Cambly, coloca Inglês no Micro Podcast em minutos grátis. Então é isso. Now, on with the show!
Hello, hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Inglês no Micro Rádio. My name is Foster, and as always, I am here with...
Alexia, hello everyone!
Hey, Alexia, how are you?
I'm fine, thanks for asking. What about you?
I'm doing good. This is an interesting experiment or experience, either one, because today is the first time that we are truly recording remotely, I think.
No.
Yeah, so just let me describe what is happening right now. So I'm at my parents' house. There are a lot of people here doing work. It's very loud. So I'm kind of hiding in a quiet spot with my recorder and my phone. And then Alexia is in Portugal with a crazy puppy and her dad. So she is on my old computer with a microphone talking to me on her phone, and that's how we're trying to record the podcast today.
Yes. So let's see how it goes. I think it's going to be fine.
Let's see how it goes. I
can more or less hear myself, but nothing that I get confused.
Okay, let's do it. Okay, so Alexia, today we are continuing the conversation about different states of the United States. And today we have a big one.
Yes, we have a big one. Actually, it was one of the states that you guys asked for on Instagram.
Yeah. So not surprising, a lot of people asked for this state. A lot of people wanted us to talk about it. And today we are talking about...
Texas.
Texas. Oh, yeah.
Yay.
Okay, so before we get started, Alexia, do you have any preconceived ideas of Texas? Do you know anything about Texas?
Yes and no. I mean, when people talk about Texas, they often think about like cowboy boots and cowboy hats and everything about cowboys, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so um yeah, that's it. Also, it's one of the biggest states from the United States, of course. And I don't know if it's rich or not, but it looks like it's a rich state.
A rich state in terms of finances, like people are rich.
In terms of a lot of things going on, they have a lot of industries, different types of industries, and it's a good place to find work.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think everything you said is correct. When I think of Texas, I also think of cowboys, cowboy boots. So that's correct by me. Um, Texas is a huge state. We will talk about how big it is in just a little bit. And yeah, Texas has a lot going on, a lot of different industries, oil and gas. It's kind of become like a new startup hub in the United States. Yeah, it's a pretty amazing place.
Is Texas considered to be from the South?
Yeah, that's a difficult question. I think Texas is just Texas. It's definitely in the South geographically, but the Southeast is very different than Texas. We speak differently, we have different traditions and cultures. So that's a difficult question.
Mm, okay, but the accent is what?
It's similar to my accent. I don't know exactly how to explain the differences linguistically. It depends a lot because Texas has some really big cities. It has three of the biggest cities in the US: Austin, Houston, and Dallas. And people in those cities, I have a lot of friends from Houston, and they speak pretty normally, like with a neutral accent. So it's hard for me to say.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. Well, I think that there is a big community of Brazilians in Texas. I'm not sure, but I feel like that it's a state that is very welcoming as well.
Yeah, there are a lot of Brazilians in almost every state in the US, including Texas. But yeah, there are a lot of immigrants in general in Texas. So, Alexia, first, I have to admit, I've never been to Texas. So I'm just saying what I think I know, but I don't actually know anything.
Okay.
Okay, but let's start with how big Texas is. So, Texas is huge. It's the second biggest state in the United States when we're talking about geography. And do you remember what the biggest state is?
Alaska?
The biggest state is Alaska. Perfect.
Yes.
And Texas is the second biggest state in terms of population. Do you know what the biggest state in the US in terms of population is?
No, no idea.
Take a guess. I think you can get it.
50 million?
No. What state is the only state that is bigger than Texas? The only state that has more people.
The only state that has more people. It's Rhode Island.
Rhode Island?
No?
Okay, Alexia.
Because you just told me last episode that today I'm not good to think about anything, Emma.
Okay, so Texas is the second biggest state in the United States in
California.
terms of population. There we go. California has the most people. Rhode Island is a very, very small state.
And just because I remember like last episode with Rhode Island, you said there is a huge amount of people for the territory, and I don't know why I say with that information in my mind, but of course it's California.
Yeah, with Rhode Island, we were talking about population density per capita, which is a totally different thing. But just to give you an idea about how big Texas is, Texas is bigger than any country in Europe. So choose any country you want in Europe. Texas is bigger than that. A lot bigger. Texas
Wow.
is twice as big as Germany.
That's so crazy.
That's crazy.
I think it's 3 times Portugal.
There are 30 million people in Texas. So in terms of
Yeah.
population, it's 3 times as big as Portugal. In terms of geography, it's a lot of Portugals. I don't know how many.
Yeah.
And just one more. So there's this phrase, everything is bigger in Texas. And it's kind of like almost a joke nowadays. Like the stakes are bigger, like everything is bigger. But it really is a huge state. So just to give an example of this, there is one ranch, like a place to keep horses and cows and stuff.
Rancho.
That's bigger than Rhode Island. Just one ranch.
One ranch. And this ranch, I think that it's private, right? Like a family owns it.
I believe so. Yeah. Yeah. So pretty crazy, right?
That's crazy.
Big state.
Yeah. Okay, so Texas. The thing that I ask about the South, because I remember that Texas had like a huge thing with the Confederate
Confederate flag.
flag. Yeah.
Yeah. Texas always has some. Like there's always people talking about if Texas is going to just leave the United States and become its own country. There are people that want to separate from the United States. And actually, in the 19th century, for like 15 years, Texas was its own country. So there is kind of that independence movement always happening in Texas.
That's interesting. I never knew that.
Yeah. Honestly, I didn't know that until like 20 minutes ago either.
That's crazy. It used to have, I don't know if nowadays it's still the same, but we used to have the same feeling about south of Brazil as well.
Yeah. It's something kind of similar, I imagine. So let's talk about cities. Texas has a lot of big and wonderful and fascinating cities. Do you know what the capital of Texas is?
Mm, mm, wait, there are 2 big cities that I know the names.
Okay.
Houston and Austin.
Correct. Okay.
Houston is the one that your friend is right now. I don't.
Yeah, I have a few friends that live in Houston. My friend Josh lives right outside of Houston. And Austin is the capital. So it's not
Austin is that capital. Yeah.
Austin. Perfect. Yeah.
My friend Alan, he lives in Austin, Rio. There is a city called Austin there as well.
Really?
Yeah, but it's so funny because he's like, só em Austin mesmo.
Yeah, so Austin is the capital of Texas. Houston is the biggest city.
Yeah.
And it also, there are there are a lot of big cities in Texas, but I think it's worth mentioning Dallas, San Antonio, and El Paso. Those are just major cities in the U.S. So Texas is big.
And it gives me the feeling that it's very dry, like a lot of sand, like those old Western movies and people fighting each other. I don't know.
Yeah, I think there is a lot of just dry land in Texas, but there's a lot of everything. There's a lot of lakes, mountains, everything in Texas. So, Alexia, a little bit of trivia. Do you want some fun facts about Texas?
Yes.
Okay, do you know the amusement park Six Flags?
Yes, I do know.
Okay, so Six Flags apparently started in Texas, and the name Six Flags is because Texas has been ruled by 6 different countries. So at one point in history, Texas belonged to Spain, then France, then Mexico, then the Republic of Texas, and then the United States.
Huh? Wait. Spain, France, Mexico, okay, it's right there, but how? So crazy.
Yeah, I mean, before the United States became the United States, a lot of different European countries were
Yeah.
competing to
Just like
take
in
control.
Brazil.
Yeah.
Yeah. The South was from England and then from Uruguay and then from um, German people and everything. Okay. Um, yeah, it's crazy because when we talk about the United States, my mind is more about the Civil War and everything about it than the colonization part.
Yeah.
I didn't study that much about the United States history, to be honest.
Yeah, and to be honest, most Americans, when we think about American history, we think, oh, there was Great Britain and then America. But
Yeah.
in reality, it was a lot more complicated.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. So, Alexia, have you ever heard someone say the phrase, don't mess with Texas?
No, never.
So, this is a really common, just like a slogan or a tagline of the state. People always say, don't mess with Texas. And that means, like, hey, we do things a little bit differently in Texas. So don't F with us.
I think it's the same for the South, right? Like, don't mess with the South.
Yeah. In the South, we say, don't tread on me, which comes from the
Yeah,
Confederacy. And
treadmill.
that's more complicated. Treadmill. Yeah. Okay. But anyway, I've always heard this phrase. I've heard my friends say, don't mess with Texas. And I just thought it was like a very Texan thing to do. But in reality, this was a phrase created by an advertising agency in 1985 to prevent people from littering, to prevent people from throwing trash on the ground. So they said, don't mess with Texas. Yeah, keep Texas beautiful.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, we're trying to get some ecologically friendly facts into all of these episodes.
Thanks for doing that, Foster.
You're welcome. And you are going to thank me for this fun fact. Did you know that it is illegal in Texas to milk someone else's cow?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't have anyone milking my cow that I don't know, of course. Are you kidding me? Like, it's my cow. What are you doing? I'm the one who's gonna milk their milk.
Truer words have never been said. But I was thinking, meu Deus, imagine how many times that situation happened.
To be illegal? Yes, to become a law.
Because you would imagine most people would say, like, hey, that's my cow. Please don't milk it. That's my milk for me. But obviously that happened so many times where the state legislator had to be like, okay, no more milking other people's cows.
Or maybe it's a very, very like old law from old farmers that had a huge fight between each other. Like, farmers who were neighbors, and then a cow went there, and then he started to milk their cow, and it's crazy.
Maybe. I did not do enough research. Okay, the last fun fact about Texas for today. Do you have an idea what the Texas flag looks like?
Just one star, right?
Just has one star, and it looks exactly like the flag of Chile, the Chilean flag.
Well, you know that Chile actually copied the American Constitution, like copy and paste perfectly.
I did not know that.
Yeah, Panchi, my friend, she's Chilean, she told me
Chilean.
that. Chilean. She told me that.
Huh. Did not know that. That's interesting.
Yes. I have one last question.
Okay, can I tell you something funny about the flag real quick?
Yeah.
So the flag of Texas and the flag of Chile, they look exactly the same. But with emojis, we don't have state flags. We only have country flags, right?
Yeah.
So everyone in Texas, whenever they want to say anything about Texas, they just use the Chilean flag. And it was pissing Chileans off so much that they actually had to create a law saying, hey, please don't use the Chilean flag
my God.
when you're talking about Texas.
That's such a stupid law.
Yeah, technically it's a non-binding law, so it's not, they can't do anything.
It's like, be respectful, don't do that. But I mean...
And then people are just like, don't mess with Texas. I'm putting a Chilean flag.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. Okay, you had one more question for me?
Yes. Can you explain to me what's a Tex-Mex?
What is Tex-Mex?
Yes.
Yes. So Tex-Mex is a combination, a mixture of food from Texas and food from Mexico. And when we talk about Mexican food in the United States, what we are really talking about is Tex-Mex. And pretty much most places in the world, when you go to a Mexican restaurant, that's Tex-Mex. That's not Mexican food.
Yeah, so when you go to the United States and you're going to eat like Mexican food, actually it's Tex-Mex.
Yes. Correct. No, I love Tex-Mex.
Okay. I would wonder why there is no law about it, because
No,
it's
don't mess with Texas.
Cultural appropriation of Mexico. So,
well, that's for another episode. But I enjoyed talking about Texas with you today, Alexia. We'll see if this audio format works, and we will talk to you tomorrow.
Okie dokie.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Muito obrigada por ter escutado mais um episódio aqui do nosso Inglês no Micro Rádio. Quando eu falo nosso, eu realmente quero dizer eu, Foster e vocês, né? A gente faz isso tudo pensando em vocês. E, além disso, nós temos produtos feitos para vocês lá no nosso site inglesnomicro.com. E lá você vai poder ver os challenges, né? Nós temos um challenge novo a cada mês. Quando que Sound School vai abrir de novo? O que nós estamos planejando para esse mês? Tudo isso você pode acessar lá no inglesnomicro.com. Vale muito a pena. Nós temos muito orgulho do novo site. Tudo está funcionando direitinho, então vá lá, deixa seu e-mail para você saber as nossas novidades, o que a gente está criando desse lado. Então é isso. Dei meu recadinho de final de episódio. Espero te ver no próximo. Então é isso, hein? Bye!